All right, today we're gonna be getting the top end buttoned up on this Junkyard 5.3 that I dropped in my 1970 C10 short bed. Today we got these BTR push rods. We're gonna be using the stock rocker arms. I just cleaned them up, oiled them up. I will eventually, before we do anything crazy with this, do the trunnion upgrade, but I just wanna make sure everything works on this. I'm trying to strategically buy all the parts so I can get this thing knocked out. And you know, for a decent trunnion kit's like 100 something bucks, and I have a lot of other stuff to buy. So my goal is by the end of this week, we're gonna have the whole top end buttoned up. We're gonna have the intake back on so we can start next week on running the whole fuel system. So we're gonna do custom fuel lines, fuel pump, all that good stuff. And then after that, we just got to figure out what computer and harness we're going to run so we can get this thing fired up. All right, so to start this out, this is a quick way to do it. You can go cylinder by cylinder and do one at a time and measure everything out individually. I already checked the stock push rod length is within tolerance for this. I didn't have, the heads aren't milled down. The cam isn't huge, so it'll work with this setup. For most setups, if you're just doing a mild cam and you're not like milling the heads or anything, you can most likely get away with just using the stock push rod length, which is a 7.4. But that's what we're running with this. First things first, you got to get it cylinder 1 to top dead center, which I already did. And then I marked, I don't know if you can see this tape here, move this out of the way. I marked here, there's like a little Sharpie line that lines up with this dot here, because this is the order of operations here. Top dead center, cylinder number 1, it's done. So first we're gonna install the rocker arms and push rods for exhaust cylinder 1, 2, 7, 8, and then intake rocker arms on cylinder 1, 3, 4, and 5. Torque all those down to 22 foot-pounds. Then we're gonna spin the engine over 360 degrees. So one full turn, that's why I marked the harmonic balancer. And then we're gonna do the rest of them. So that'll be exhaust on cylinder 3, 4, 5, and 6, and intake on cylinder 2, 6, 7, and 8. So let's get that knocked out. Before I do anything else, I'm just gonna drop all the push rods in here. So we're just gonna lube up. You can soak these in oil. You really don't have to, as long as you drop some assembly lube on both ends, which I'll do right now, and then just drop those in so we can start getting the rockers knocked out. All right, so you can see just a little bit of assembly lube on both sides. You can drop it down in there. And you just push it in until you feel it click and you're good to go. So let's get the rest of these knocked out real fast. All right, with the rocker arms, we're also gonna take a little dab here on the inside right there when we put them on, and then a little bit on this tip here. Any point there's contact, so all the tips of the spring, like the springs where the tip of the valve is, lube all that up too. So on this side for the first pass, we're gonna do exhaust, which is the second spring on this side of each one where the exhaust tube's lined up. So 1 and 7 on this side for the exhaust, and then 1, 3, and 5 for the intake. So let's get these ones set up. All right, so we got all these valves set on for the first pass. So we got, just so you guys remember, the second spring and the second rocker arm on the driver's side, that's the exhaust. So it's whatever lines up with this exhaust tube here. So intake, exhaust. And then we got 1, 3, 5, 7 on this side. And then on the other side is 2, 4, 6, 8. So that's why on this side, if you can look at the numbers we wrote down, we have exhaust 1 right here, And then we have exhaust 7 down here, the last one. And then for intake, we have intake 1, intake 3, and intake 5. So I'll be like every other one for those. And then we can go over to the passenger side here, and you can see it's going to be flipped because these heads are identical. So when you flip them, it's going to be opposite. So the exhaust tube is actually for the first section, not the second section like the other side. So rocker arm and exhaust, this is going to be your exhaust here, so number 2, as you can see there, and then 8, which will be the second to last one on this side. And then we also got the intake on number 4. That's the only one on this side for intake that we're doing right now, which is this one here. So let's get all these torqued down and then we'll knock the rest out. All right, so we got our torque wrench here set to 22 foot-pounds. Let's torque all these down. All right, all those are torqued down to 22 foot-pounds. Let me knock out the passenger side real quick and then we'll get the rest of it. All right, we got the first set of rocker arms torqued down. So now we're gonna rotate 360 degrees and add the rest of the rocker arms on there and then torque everything down to 22 foot-pounds and we're good to go. All right, spun over 360 degrees. Let's get all the rest of the rocker arms dropped on there so we can get them torqued down. All right, we got everything in the second group done and torqued down. So now we can spin it over and make sure everything looks good here. And now you can see them opening and closing. I'll bring you a little closer here. All right, so we should be set. And there is a reason, so before anyone says in the comments, I know you can drop all these in, especially if you're running with the stock ones, whatever, and just impact them all down, and there's a good chance that they'll work just fine. But there's also a chance that you mess something up because all these heads are aluminum, and if you catch the cam on the wrong side or in the wrong position, you're having these threaded bolts pulling on the aluminum, you could easily strip out the heads or damage something or mess up your cam. So it takes an extra 10 minutes. You might as well just do it the right way. There are multiple ways you could do this. If you're just doing something stock-ish, this is, even if you're doing like gonna throw turbos on it or whatever, if you're running mostly stock parts and you're just gonna beat on it, this will still be fine. You can do this 2 sets and be done. So that's it. Hopefully by the end of the week, we'll get all the rest of the gaskets and everything in so I could get the intake. I got to put new O2 sensors and a bunch of small things, and we'll get this top end completely done so it looks like a complete engine so we can get to working on the fuel system and the computer and wiring. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.